Antonio Brown says he's not to blame in this. Antonio Brown says that he plays by his own rules and he wants a new contract. As a result, Antonio Brown is affecting his own trade value. So, Andrew, I want to get your take on Antonio Brown, and has this painted the Steelers into a corner they did not want to get to, and do you still think they're going to make a trade? If so, what for?
Yeah, I think watching Jeff Darlington and LeBron and Maverick Carter this weekend probably there was some pain and anguish on the Art Rooney, Mike Tomlin, Kevin Colbert front with everything that was said. I think it's terrible. I think more than even his erratic behavior and Mr. Big Chest talk and all that, the contract demand saying, I want guaranteed money. You find me a team that is A, going to be desperate enough to give up a first-round pick from Antonio Brown, and then B, desperate enough to turn around and give him $40 million, $50 million, $60 million guaranteed. He probably wants Odell Beckham Jr. money. He'll probably compare himself to another guy with bleached hair, and I just don't think a team will give up a big draft pick for him now.
First of all, Bob, let me just say this. I'm very upset that you haven't invited either of us, three of us, to your house yet. And I know I haven't invited you to mine either, but, you know.
I
thought you guys were cool.
to change that coming up.
Yeah, we're not cool anymore.
I thought you guys wanted to win.
That's not winning, Bob.
Yeah, it's not a winning attitude.
We need to train better.
You're not a leader.
We need to train.
You've got an owner's mentality, Bob. I think that when it comes to Brown and what he'll get in return, what Andrew was talking about there at the end of his comments, I still think they can get a 2. I don't think they can get a 1. But when you get two Grudens bidding against each other, Schefter is reporting here, when you got the Redskins and the Raiders, have there been two more pockmarked teams of getting bad influence veterans on their clubs than the Redskins and Raiders?
But
There's
you know
hope,
what?
Andrew.
You know what
There's
scares?
hope.
You know what scares me about that though is that now if Arizona is gonna pick Murray, is Washington going to use its draft capital to trade for Josh Rosen? And if you're in their shoes, I think the franchise quarterback is more important than Mr. Big Chest.
Yeah, I think that Derek Carr, rather, of the group of quarterbacks we're talking about here, might be the most fit to at least get in the way of what AB has to say from time to time. But he'll probably steamroll him like he's trying to do to Ben.
Oh, man. In my limited time around the Steelers, I heard Antonio Brown use the phrase discomfort and disclosure. Maybe you guys have heard him say that, and he was using it in the wrong context, but I kept thinking of that this weekend. There was a lot of discomfort in that interview. The ESPN reporter, as somebody who asks it makes me sick. That
Ask
was
a
the worst
follow-up.
The worst conducted interview in the history of conducting interviews.
Why?
It was atrocious.
Why do you say that?
Because it was a PR stunt.
He didn't ask about Tomlin. He didn't ask about this whole thing about Tomlin just told me to go home. Did he get a comment from Tomlin? Did he get a comment from Ben about whether or not AB's been to his house?
There
Which
had to
apparently
be so
he
many
was.
parameters on that interview, Andrew. I mean, you can't go in that as a self-respecting reporter and not at least ask those questions.
I think Darlington's agent's Rosenhaus, by the way. I'm serious.
Entirely possible. I'm
serious
surprised he
about
didn't show
that.
up with a
Well, then
blonde
that should
mustache.
never have happened, if that was the case.
No. And the other thing that was, the disclosure part, or just plain stupid hearing him talk about it, was Antonio Brown trying to explain away doing 100 miles an hour on McKnight Road. Did anybody watch this? That he couldn't be worried about this because he has large business to attend to. He has some sort of football business to attend to. That everybody else was trying to drag him down like the speed. You're doing 100 miles an hour on McKnight Road.
It's because rules don't apply to him. It's the ultimate example of rules don't apply to me. Just like the rule of gravity doesn't apply to his
He said he makes
furniture.
the rules. That was one of his comments.
Yeah, he could have hurt people, killed people, for all we know, if those things had gone bad. And yet, no one asked him about it. It's all part of what's gone on here in the last year. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about money and length of contract. Bryce Harper, that's next up right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.